Welcome to the Ancestral Rock on your station for progressive information and handpicked quality music. We're about to go live on 89.3 on the FM dial. Please, if you're tuning in from YouTube or Facebook, like and share the video. Subscribe to our channel. Let's go. For the healing of the nation, for the healing of the nation on your progressive sound station.
WRFG Atlanta, 89.3 FM, Radio Free Georgia Broadcasting Organization Incorporated, provides a voice for those who have been traditionally denied open access to the broadcast media through the involvement of a broad base of community elements to guarantee that access. In the utilization of the station's facilities and in its programs, the following communities will receive first priority: those who continue to be denied free and open access to the broadcast media, and those who suffer oppression or exploitation based upon class, race, sex, age, creed, sexual orientation, disability, or immigrant status.
WRFG operates on the frequency of 89.3 megahertz as authorized by the Federal Communications Commission. Opinions expressed on WRFG do not necessarily represent the opinions of Radio Free Georgia Broadcasting, Inc., its staff, or volunteers. This program contains language and/or information which may be strong for some listeners. Portions of this program are pre-recorded. Discretion is advised.
By the foot of a mountain lives an old man who sleeps all day and hopes things will come his way. And of the first time ever I passed by his way, he calls me, son, come on over here. He said, although you may not know me, but deep down something tells me that you're just going astray. So relax here and hope love will pass your way. I try to live good among my brethren. They always act as if they can't accept me. And so now I'm tired of being treated this way. I've got to return where I know love will pass my way. So when I reach home, I shall sing the song of love to you, to you, to you, to you.
We're poor, Ashe. Ashe.
We'll pour to the creative spirit, the great Ashe, out of which we all emerge. Ashe.
Ashe.
We pour to that creative spirit by whatever name we know it, whatever name you hold in your heart, in your mind, whatever name your ancestors gave, whatever name you learned as a child, whatever name you believe it to be, whatever name you believe it to be in spirit or in science. Ashe.
Ashe.
We pour to the first human beings who came into existence on this planet, the first human beings who raised the first structures, who cooked the first meals, who taught the first children, who had the first children, the first Africans, the first people who stood upright, who walked, who figured out how to stay on this planet, who figured out how to pass that knowledge on to their children and their children's children, the mothers and fathers of civilization. Ashe.
Ashe.
We pour the next libation to their grandchildren, their children's children, those who raised the great early civilizations of Kemet and Kush and Monomotapa, the great medieval civilizations of Ghana and Mali and Songhai and Kanem Bornu. We pour to those who the great civilizations of the Igbo people and the Hausa people and the Kikongo people and the Mabara people, the great Mande civilizations, the great Kikongo, the great civilizations of Southern Africa, the Bantu people, the great civilizations of Southeast Africa, the Dinka, the Shilluk, the Noor. We pour to those millions who raised the foundations from which the world would learn what it meant to be human in the world. Ashe.
Ashe.
We pour to their children who were upon the arrival on the shores of people they had never seen before, found themselves captured and marched overland, found themselves perishing by the millions before they were held on the holding cells and the open air pens on the coast of West, Central, Southern, and East Africa. We pour to the ancestors who did not know as they were stripped of all clothing and sent denuded into boats, packed like animals, and strewn their bones across the floor of the Atlantic and the Indian Ocean. We pour to them who in the last moment on Africa grabbed the sand and grabbed the dirt and put it in their mouths and understood that the only thing they might have to preserve their place in that continent was their memory of that place and their ability to pass it on to their children. We pour to them. Ashe.
Ashe.
We pour to those Africans and their children who finding themselves cast adrift in Santiago, Cuba, who found themselves cast adrift in Porto, Spain, Trinidad, and Port-au-Prince, Haiti, who found themselves cast adrift in New Orleans and Charleston and Mobile, who found themselves cast adrift in Salvador, Bahia, who found themselves cast adrift in Barbados and the archipelago that formed the wayward and the windward coast. We found them in these places learning Portuguese and Spanish and French, whose often first words was, "Oh my God, oh Madre de Dios," who found themselves praying to survive and pass on to their children the memories. We pour to those ancestors who are represented in the thousands, buried in all the square miles of where we stand, and who sit here, buried before us in 400 caskets forged of wood from West Africa with Adinkra symbols. Each one of them, each woman, man, and child, symbolic of millions. The children of those who could not be killed, we pour Ashe.
Ashe.
We pour to their children who somehow survived the hells of enslavement and fought for emancipation in the Caribbean, the French, British, Dutch Caribbean, who fought for emancipation in South America, who fought for emancipation in Central America, who fought the struggles we refer to as the Civil War in the United States, who came out of that, marched out of enslavement through Reconstruction, and found themselves making great migrations, eventually ending up in places like New York. Their children's children, who making a way for themselves, became our great-great-grandparents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our parents. Those who, when the first bones were discovered in this space, held their hands and said, "Stop, no more." We are here to speak for those who can no longer speak with their mouths. We pour for those ancestors, some of whom came to Howard University in 2004 and followed these caskets all the way back to New York. We pray to the great ancestors, the ones whose names we know and the ones whose names we don't. And at this moment, as we pour this libation, I would ask anyone who feels comfortable to say the name of someone in your bloodline who is no longer physically here, but who you know made it possible for you to be here. Go ahead, let's hear the names. To the names that we hold collectively. Ganga Zumba in Brazil, Toussaint Louverture, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, and Henri Christophe in Haiti. We pour to the great Avengers, Nanny of the Maroons of Jamaica. We pour to the great ancestors, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Frederick Douglass. Say the names that you study. Who are the names of the ancestors that you have come to hold in your heart and your mind as you hope that you can do what they did for us, for your children and children's children? Let's say some of those famous names. Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad, John Henry Clark, John G. Jackson, Jacob Carruthers. And finally, two final libations. We pour to those who make it possible for us to do what we do. We pour to these rangers who stand guardian over this sacred space. We pour to these Africans and these folks who have come from Howard University, the staff, the faculty, the administrators who brought us here today to bear witness. This is not a libation, but an affirmation, because their hearts still beat, their tongues still speak, their minds still think, and their minds still wish the best for us. We pour for all of those people who surrounded us on this journey today and made it possible for us to be here. We pour this affirmation of thanks, Ashe.
Ashe.
And finally, we pour to your children's children's children who will one day stand on this space and speak your name. Ashe.
Ashe.
I wanna know son of a come, all freedom fighter. But I have to never come. I was Circle Africa. Right. Come make we Circle Africa. Come make we Circle Africa.
But I say that is the land of me forefather.
Come make we Circle Africa. Come make we Circle Africa.
But I say that is the land of me ancestor. Now me start up in a decking city where them calling Ethiopia.
But the capital for that city in name of Addis Ababa.
And now me connect the track and then me reach over in Kenya.
So we stop at Sudan and then to Sudan and Arabia.
I said them have oil at that place more than how them have water.
And then we make up big tracks and then we reach a Uganda.
I said the capital for that country them call it Kampala.
And then we make a big move and then we reach a Mount Kenya.
We make connect the glide and then we reach down in Ghana.
And then we make a big move and then we reach a Botswana.
Yes, we go all leave a country, some of them we don't remember.
Like Algeria,
Nigeria,
Egypt and even Libya,
Angola,
Zambia,
and even Tanzania. We stop that Zimbabwe.
I eat near Rhodesia.
Then I make a truck to Johannesburg.
We are down in South
And
Africa.
then we let
I wanna know son of a come, all freedom fighter. But I have to never come. I was Circle Africa. Right. Come make we Circle Africa. Come make we Circle Africa.
but I say that is the land of me forefather.
Come make we Circle Africa. Come make we Circle Africa.
But I say that is the land of me ancestor. Now me start up in a decking city where them call Ethiopia.
But the capital for that city in name of Addis Ababa.
And now me connect the track and then me reach over in Kenya.
So we stop at Sudan and then to Sudan and
I
Arabia.
said them have oil at that place more than how them have water.
And then we make a big tracks and then we reach a Uganda.
I said the capital for that country them call it Kampala.
And then we make a big move and then we reach a Mount Kenya.
We make connect the glide and then we reach down in Ghana.
And then we make a big move and then we reach a Botswana.
Yes, we go all leave a country, some of them we don't remember.
Like Algeria,
Nigeria,
Egypt and even Libya,
Angola,
Zambia,
and even Tanzania. We stop that Zimbabwe.
I eat near Rhodesia.
Then I make a truck to Johannesburg.
We are down in South Africa.
And then we let off a message.
So President Botha
Said this is an
a
important
message to deliver.
apartheid.
No.
We don't want it in the area. No out of captivity.
Just free eye black brother.
A long time now.
On the old Nelson Mandela.
Now that me come back.
In our country named Jamaica.
I said the people them give me the crown. Them call me Africa's ambassador to it.
Circle Africa, just do we Circle Africa.
But I say that is the land of me forefather. Wow,
Just do
wow.
we Circle Africa, just do we Circle Africa.
But I say that is the land of me ancestor. But I say listen to me,
And
woman.
me say listen to me man.
Because it seems like certain people,
Them not understand.
them blacks in South Africa.
Them under sufferation.
No, we don't know where it a come from.
And we don't know where it began.
But some it's a government in some country I give them weapons.
Just to shoot down my black people with them ammunition.
And now each and every man just give an helping hand. Got together everybody, you go shout out in now and come on. Apartheid,
No!
we don't want it from the land. Come make
We
we say.
Circle Africa, come make we Circle Africa.
And I say that is the land of me forefather. Wow,
Come make
wow.
we we circle Africa, go make we circle Africa.
But me say that is the land of me ancestor.
But we said this is when
And low we no borrow, we no lend.
say Burka is our enemy, it could not be your friend.
Them say the killing of the blacks in South Africa have no end.
Some man me write on them your lyrics with a brand new pen.
And now me calling every Rasta figure Africa again. All them brought me from my motherland where them call it Africa. And brought me down in Jamaica just to work upon the sugar. We form a big posse where them call it Terminator. Some dead, some day a prison while the rest them commit murder. Well, this is Wayne and Louie, we are the only survivors.
Make we circle Africa, go make we circle Africa.
But me say that is the land of me forefather.
Go make we circle Africa, go make we circle Africa.
But me say that is the land of me ancestor. Now me starting at the King City where them call it the
I
Yoga.
got the capital for that city in name of this apart.
Yes, we make a net a track and then me reach over in
We
Kenya.
say we stop at Sudan and then to Saudi
Me
Arabia.
see them have oil at that place more than all them have
And
water.
then we make a big move and then we reach a Uganda.
Yes, the capital with that country them call it Kampala.
And then we make a big move and then we reach a Montenegro.
And then we make a net a glide and then we reach down in a Ghana.
We go only per country, so much them we do we.
Hello, comrades. Hello, dear brothers and sisters, and most sincerely, warmly welcome home to all who are gathered here today. This morning, I wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you to all of you who took your time and energy to travel from the land of upright people to return to your roots. As they say in English, back to your roots. Thank you for coming. You have truly shown us the spirit of brotherhood. You have honored us, and I sincerely pray to God that He continues to bless you all, to grant you good health and the strength you need to keep coming back to your roots. May you always find support and encouragement here. Among you, there are elderly people, very elderly, who, despite their age, made the journey with you. I thank you deeply from the bottom of my heart, and may God continue to comfort you. I have followed your entire stay among your brothers from start to finish. Every evening on television, I try to see what activities you have been involved in. And I can admit that I am very happy with everything you have already been able to discover. But I pray to God that time will still be on our side and that you will be able to come back and be able to discover many more things throughout Burkina Faso. Certainly many were advised not to come to Burkina. You are now our ambassadors, and I think you are the best positioned to help others understand that Burkina Faso is far from what those Western media try to portray to the world. Burkina is a welcoming place. Burkina is resilient. Burkina stands tall, and Burkina is alive. And thank you for proving this in the eyes of the world. I also sincerely commend you for your unwavering determination to support us in our ongoing struggle to support your brothers and sisters here in Burkina Faso by investing in every possible field. I discussed this with the Prime Minister just yesterday regarding the permanent residence card. Certainly, we had set conditions for obtaining the card, as well as other financial requirements. But we have decided to remove the financial requirement in your case so that you do not have to meet it. So for you, it will simply be a matter of fulfilling the requirements related to the card itself. For all the other conditions, you will be exempt. And thank you for leading the way for all those who wish to obtain this card, invest, and stay in Burkina. That being said, Burkina Faso is a country under construction. I think many opportunities have been presented to you. There are still many more opportunities. For example, the matter of radio and television. I can also assure you that I will do everything I can to support the creation of such a radio or television station here in Burkina Faso. Because communication is a powerful tool, and no one can tell our story better than we can ourselves. For a long time, they were the ones who told whatever they wanted about Africa. They were the ones who told whatever they wanted about Black people. Now it is time for us to say no to that and to tell things as they really are. I encourage you to pursue this project, which we will strongly support. Burkina Faso is under construction. We have started to change many of our laws to allow for better coexistence, but also to secure the investments of Burkinabe people and of all those who wish to come and invest in Burkina Faso. When we look at the real estate sector, for example, it is a rapidly growing field in Burkina Faso. We are also focusing on agriculture and agricultural processing, especially the agri-food industry and energy. In short, there are many sectors that are open, and we need the brains of our brothers to come here and build the necessary industries to process our raw materials. It should be us feeding the world, not us having to be seen as beggars in the eyes of the world. And it is entirely possible for Africa to feed the world. I invite you to reflect, perhaps to come together, but I assure you that we will support you so that you can invest in key sectors in Burkina Faso that can be beneficial to you and to all your brothers here. And that is the very essence of our culture. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs will continue the great work they have started. By the way, I congratulate them for this initiative with the Institute, which has accomplished this wonderful work. Continue the work of presenting opportunities so you can be guided and directed towards structuring and beneficial investments. And we will continue to monitor this very closely so that you will not be disappointed with your investment in Burkina Faso. Acknowledge one thing. The struggle we are waging is tough, and it is a test of endurance. And you have decided to carry our message throughout the world. We are not fighting for Burkina Faso alone. We are fighting for Africa. We are fighting for Black people. We are fighting for the dignity of Africa. We are fighting for the well-being of our people. And who fights for the dignity and well-being of its people also carries something in their heart. We stand wholeheartedly with all peoples who fight for justice, for equality, for well-being. And we are friends to all peoples who respect us and who respect our sovereignty and our dignity. And thank you for standing with us in this struggle we are waging. It is very difficult to wage this kind of struggle, and I know that you know this even better than I do. To see Africa awakening is truly a nightmare for some. But Africa is indeed awakening, and Africa will awaken. We are not going to be complicit. In their deepest and most sincere wishes, the wish to see Africa become the reality of what they have thought and said about Africa, namely a land of slaves, a cursed land. We will not be complicit and go along with them so that what they think becomes a reality. We will tell them that Africa is a continent of hope, a continent of fighters, and Africa is a continent of the future. And we are going to fight for that. Some will say that it is impossible for Africa to catch up, to wake up. We were told this when we wanted to take our country's destiny into our own hands, that it is impossible to do what we want. Others tried to discourage us. They always brought up examples of African heroes whom they killed to tell us that these heroes tried but couldn't succeed, to make us believe that our struggle is in vain. But we said that impossible is not African. If impossible were African, our grandparents, our ancestors would have suffered greatly. There is no other people in the world who have suffered like Africans. No people can claim to have survived after all the ordeals that Black people have endured. We remember whether it was colonization, slavery, or the Arab-Muslim conquest here, Africans have experienced all kinds of humiliation, all kinds of treatment aimed at exterminating us. They wanted to wipe out the Black gene because it was always the young, the brave ones that they took, killed, and deported. So the African is the most resilient in the history of humanity because we have withstood every possible form of barbarity. But today, we must continue the ongoing struggle. And that's why I want to thank you again for the fight you are leading. Because the continent is still suffering. Look at what is happening in Sudan. Our Black brothers are being exterminated. Look at what is happening in Congo. Look at how they are turning people against each other in the Sahel. Everywhere they manipulate Black people so that we kill each other. They send weapons and we keep killing each other. This has to stop. And it is absolutely possible. And the first weapon we can use, that you can use, is communication. It's about explaining to Black people where they come from, who they are, and where we can go. And it is absolutely possible, and I congratulate you, I encourage you in this fight. Wherever Africans gather, we must understand one thing. Only united can we go far. And we must find a way to unite, one way or another. And this responsibility falls more on the youth today, but also on the elders, who must be able to explain to the youth what they experienced in the past and how we should behave today in order to unite. I am counting on each and every one of you to continue this struggle wherever you are. Because today we are being fought not only by imperialism, which is trying by every means to make us disappear, but also by our own brothers, some who are servants of imperialism and others simply out of self-interest. Personally, I would say that there are many African heads of state who do not like me. There are many people out there who do not really appreciate me. Maybe it's because they're jealous. Maybe also I'm a threat to their master. Whatever the case, I don't hold it against them. And they pretend, when people meet them, they pretend to like me. But I know that there are many who do not like me. But our prayer is that God changes them deeply in their hearts. That God fills their hearts with love, not for us, but for their people. So that they love their people and that they fight for their people. Because we will continue to preach the message so that their youth wakes up. And I pray to God that He puts love in their hearts, that they love their youth, that they love their people, and that they fight for the well-being of their people. Maybe through that, we too will benefit from a bit of love from them. And I pray to God that this may happen, and very soon that we may look in the same direction, see that we must fight for the well-being of our peoples, our youth, our continents, our countries. And through this, there is no other choice. We will unite. Because Africa is immensely rich, we have a huge market, and we have brilliant minds all over the world. And we will bring all our brilliant minds to work with us. Africa needs all its sons and daughters in order to develop. And you carry this message, you carry this fight. And we must do everything we can so that this fight succeeds, and as soon as possible. That is very important. Because you must see this fight succeed in a very short time, and it is indeed possible. So I encourage you, I congratulate you for everything you are doing. And before I conclude, I invite you at every opportunity to come back to Burkina Faso, because we are going to transform Burkina Faso, make Burkina an example so that people can see that it is possible. We are going to move on from this situation of war, rebuild the country, make it better, and let everyone see that it is truly possible, and that will motivate others to follow the same path as us. Thank you for this support. Thank you for the warmth you have brought us. Thank you for the love you have come to give us. And I pray to God that you all return safe and sound, and that you come back home to Burkina Faso to invest and live in peace whenever you wish. Thank you very much to all of you. May God be with you. May God bless you. Homeland or death, we shall overcome. Welcome you to the Ancestral Rock, 31 minutes after our to the 4 o'clock hour Eastern Standard Time. Got some very special guests waiting in the wing.
Living in captivity, so don't make them fool ya. If you look up on the land like Ethiopia, where we belong. If you look up on the land of Nubia, where we belong. If you look up on the land of Africa, where we belong. If you look up on the land of Ethiopia, where we belong, yeah. Black man, where is your country? Where is your king? Whoa, where is your nation? Where is your God? If you look up on the land like Ethiopia, you belong. If you look up on the land of Nubia, we belong. If you look up on the land of Africa, where we belong. If you look up on the land of Ethiopia, we belong. Where we belong.
Be black. If the white man has the idea of a white God, let him worship his God as he desires. We have found a new ideal. Because whilst our God has no color, and yet it is human to see everything through one's own spectacles, and since the white people have seen their God through their white spectacles, we have only now started to see our God through our own spectacles. So we believe believe in the God of Ethiopia, the everlasting God, God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Ghost, the one God of our ages. That is the God in whom we believe, but we shall worship him through the spectacles of Ethiopia. For 250 years, we have struggled under the burden and rigors of slavery. We were maimed, we were brutalized, we were ravaged in every way. We are men. We have hopes, we have passions, we have feelings, we have desires just like any other race. The cry is raised all over the world of Canada for the Canadians, of America for the Americans, of England for the English, of France for the French, of Germany for the Germans. Do you think it unreasonable that we, the black will want to raise the cry of Africa for the Africans? The Negro is the man. We represent the new Negro. His back is not yet against the wall. We do not want his back against the wall because that would be a peculiar and desperate position. We do not want him there. It is because of this that we are asking for fair compromise. Where the Belgians have control of the Belgian Congo, which they cannot use. They have not the resources to develop now the intelligence. The French have more territory than they can develop. There's certain parts of Africa which they cannot live at all. So it is for you to come together and give us a United States of Africa. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are not going to be a race without a country. God never intended it, and we are not going to use God's confidence in us as men. We are men, human beings, capable of the same acts as any other race, possessing on the face circumstances the same intelligence as any other race. Now Africa's been sleeping, not dead, only sleeping. Today Africa's walking around not only on her feet, but on her brains. You can enslave as was done for 300 years the bodies of men. You can shackle the hands of men. You can shackle the feet of men. You can imprison the bodies of men, but you cannot shackle or imprison the minds of men. Lie down, black men, and reach up, black men and women, and pull our nature's knowledge to you. Turn ye around and make a conquest of everything, north and south, east and west. And then when you have wrought well, you will have merited God's blessing. You will have become God's chosen people, and naturally you will become leaders of the world. And as you bow down to the white man today, so a lot of races bow down to you and call you a race of master because of the superiority of your mind and your achievements.
89.7 FM dial. We are 89.3. WRFG.org. The station for progressive information and handpicked quality music. Coming in hot on a Thursday afternoon because anything less, anything lukewarm would be uncivilized. We are standing on the Ancestral Rock, meaning we're standing on the shoulders of people who have made great sacrifices and great gains in this world so that we can be here today. For those of y'all who are joining us via the World Wide Web, welcome. WRFG.org is the one-stop shop where you can even get other options on how to tune in, how to get our archives and all of that. Those of y'all joining us even on other streaming options like Facebook and YouTube, we see you and we welcome you to the ride. Today, this afternoon, we have a very blessed opportunity to really, like we do every day, really. Every day is that day. To really connect the so-called past and the future and the present with some living griots, with some people who have experienced a lot of the past, and as people who carry vision in their belly, that's why they were able to sustain a lot of the blows, I'm sure. Also see the so-called future and are living in the present right now. Like Peter Tosh say, a mystic man. I got Mama Maimouna and Baba Mukasaa Dada on the line with us, and we're going to experience some reports, some storytelling through their lens of a journey that recently happened to Burkina Faso. And in that, of course, you can't tell one story without telling a million stories because they're all connected. Stay tuned to yourself. The station is WRFG.org. Phone number up here in the studio is 404-523-8989. Before I bring on my special guest, I want to give you a little backdrop of who, at least one of them, one of the two that we're going to be speaking with. Recently, the Imam Jamil Al-Amin, we were up here last strong, and paid tribute to him. Someone who was very prominent from the time of Snake and the Black Panther Party, and went through his own evolution and continued to raise the consciousness of the people. Remember, shared the reality that the power is in the people and not just power to the people. There was a clip going around of him and someone who was very close to him, comrade who preceded him as an ancestor, Kwame Ture, Stokely Carmichael. And it was good to see that they were coming out of a courthouse in Alabama after one of many trials dealing with the so-called law and all of that. But all history is a current event. We got Baba Mukasaa and Mama Maimouna with us. Check this out.
Black Power. SNCC had already decided this before the march. It must be properly understood. We decided to use the march for an education purpose. Number one, we wanted to push strongly our struggle against the war in Vietnam. So if people look clearly at the merit of the march, you will see anti-Vietnam propping up here. King wasn't using it then, but you will see this is one of the areas where we started to hit him with it seriously. Our march was to put strong nationalism in, to have direct leadership from us, and of course, to throw out black power for the mass of the people. Now, I myself had been in Greenwood, Mississippi since early '60. I'd worked in the project there, and when head of the second congressional district, this was our base. So I had spent time in the jail in Greenwood so many times. The police knew me, the police chief knew me, everyone in the town knew me. So we decided Greenwood, it was SNCC's strongest base in the Delta. We couldn't go wrong. Unfortunately for the police, we went to set up some tents there, and the police decided to arrest me. Okay, so before I was arrested, we were discussing Greenwood. This is where we will launch Black Power. So when I got arrested, Ricks was on the side there when the police said, "Let them arrest you. We'll get you out of jail and you come out and make the speech tonight." And he disappeared. Well, you know how Rick speaks. So anyway, I went to jail. But I was brought out, and when I was released, it was at night, the speech was going on. And when I came to the speech, I was in line. Ricks came back. He said, "We have everything prepared. We're ready for Black Power. We've spoke about it all day. We've primed up the people. And luckily for us, our biggest problem was Martin Luther King, because I knew that once Black Power was said, Martin Luther King would have to come, not fight against it, but with his best try to give reasonings to water it down." But luckily for us, the night in Greenwood, King had to go to do a taped television thing, I think, for Meet the Press. So he had to go to Memphis. So he was not there the night in Greenwood. Ricks had everybody primed. He said, "Just get to your speech. We're going against freedom now. We're going for Black Power. Don't hit too much on freedom now, but hit the need for power." So we built up on the need for power. And just when I got there, before I got it, Ricks was there saying, "Hit him now, hit him now." I kept saying, "Give me time, give me time." When we finally got it and we dropped it, Black Power, of course, they had been primed and they responded immediately. But I myself, to be honest, I didn't expect that enthusiastic response. You know, and the enthusiastic response obviously not only shocked me, but gave me more energy to carry it on further. By the time we got down that night, SCLC was running around everywhere. We knew it was finished. We had made our victory. They could not bring it back. It was over. All right, to
89.3 on the FM dial WRFG. Just a piece of our story as we bring up our very special guests this afternoon. We have them with us live in the building. Let me see, make this different so we can see both of them. Mama Maimouna and Baba Mukasaa Dada. Good afternoon to both of y'all. Welcome to the Ancestral Rock once again. Thank y'all for taking time to be with us.
Greetings, African.
Mama Africa and Baba Africa.
Black power! Black power! Africa, be free.
I had to play that, for many reasons, as I said, without making a long story too long, because it's very important. All history is not, Nana Clark taught us, all history is a current event. So here we are in the year 2025, according to somebody's clock, Gregorian calendar, and we're seeing all these images of the leadership of the Sahel states, particularly, for some reason, the media is really pushing Ibrahim Traore to the forefront. Some feel to make him a target, et cetera, et cetera. But in terms of these images of these strong African leaders with their Black Power salute every time they amongst the people, and not just rhetoric, but putting the works behind it, kicking the colonialists out and everything. And of course, a lot of the reverberating word sound is. Yeah, that's Black Power for real. I just had to take a throwback to where not Black Power began, but where that utterance came from in our lifetime. And Baba Kwame Ture was there giving his testimony about how one of our special guests right here standing before us, Baba Mukasaa. he was poking him, Baba. He said he was on his case. Hit him now with the Black Power. And as even he said, and we're talking about Kwame Ture, who the world knows as a principled revolutionary ancestor who gave up his life on the battlefield, working for functional African unity. He even said that, he himself was a little bit surprised. He was a little bit surprised by the enthusiasm. I get the feeling that you weren't surprised because you was hitting them. That's why you was pushing them to hit them now with it. Hit them now with it. So I want to start there. I want to welcome you all again and take us a little bit to that time of organizing in the Mississippi Delta, getting people who, a century before or so, Booker T. Washington, when he was talking to George Washington Carver, was talking about restoring a broken people to full personhood. Just take us to that time, Baba Mukasaa, and what it was like, what some of your experiences was like leading up to that explosive moment in terms of just organizing our people.
Well, leading up to it, we've been in Mississippi organizing, and SNCC and the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party that we organized. We had tried to register people to vote, and we were bombed and killed. Meg Evans was assassinated. Cheney, Swan, and Goodman was lynched because of that. Houses and churches were blown up, and our people lived in shacks in very bad conditions. There were definitely jobs that we only based on the job we could get was sweeping the floors and mopping the floors and stuff like that. So when they were putting all this terrorism in us, the economics were kept from us. We had to go in back doors, say yes to all white people. And that we decided when we went into Mississippi in 1966, we were going to hit them with Black Power. And we decided we were going to hit them with Black Power. We were going on the aggressive. And so we went on there and started talking about Black Power. We were saying that we're going to take what we want. It's time for us to fight for our freedom and liberate our people. So we went there and we started talking about Black Power. When they said we couldn't use the courthouse, when we started talking about Black Power, then we said we would blow it up or burn it down, but we would get it. Right. And we began to make it clear that we were coming to fight. And so Black Power represents to fight, and that and represent making our people conscious of who we are. And remember, at that time, they had made us ashamed of our hair, our nose, our lips, our skin, our history, and unfortunately, they had made us ashamed of Africa, or not even know Africa. And they have kept Africa completely away from us. And if it came toward us, it was something in a very negative way. So our job now is to go and make our people Black and proud. So when we hit them with Black Power, it shook up the world. And one section of us was saying Black Power is too strong. We don't need no Black Power. Even Martin King, he said, we don't need no white power. We don't need no brown power. We don't need no yellow power. We don't need no Black Power. We would hit him, Black Power, Black Power. We need Black Power. And then shortly after that march and the bombing and jailing of many people, at that time, they passed the Voters' Rights Bill. And when they passed the Voters' Rights Bill, Charles, what's his name?
Charles Evans?
No, not Evans, but who marched, who got shot.
You're talking about the guy who integrated Meredith.
Meredith. Look. So y'all pass these bills after you done lynched us, killed us, murdered us for all these hundreds of years, and you're using terrorism against our people to keep them from voting, to keep them from speaking out. So the bill is just a piece of paper. So he decided to walk through Mississippi with a sign saying,
Fear.
"March against fear."
Yes.
And that and register to vote and speak up. And when he stepped out of Mississippi, going to walk from Memphis to Jackson, Mississippi, 250 miles. When he stepped out and started walking, the first day the white man stepped from behind the bush with a shotgun and shot him in the back. And when they shot Meredith in the back, Dr. King, Stokely, and Roy Wilk, all the big civil rights folks met, and we met at the hotel that they killed King in, the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee. And when we met there, we said we're going to carry the march on. And we made it clear to Dr. King and Roy Wilkins and the other civil rights leaders that when we march through Mississippi, if a white man put his hands on us, we fighting back. So everybody in the top leaders of the civil rights movement, Whitney Young and all of them, they said, "Oh no, we're not going to be a part of nothing like that." And they jumped up and ran out to march. And Dr. King and Floyd McKissick, of course, said, "We're going to stay." And we took Dr. King through that Mississippi, and we took him through Mississippi. We educated Dr. King because he'd never seen nothing like it, being out there in the cotton fields and rounding up and SNCC rounding up hundreds of black people with whores in their hands and picks in their hand, saying, "Black power, we want black power." And they were just coming strong and hard. And that Dr. King was getting educated himself on that. And so when we talked about black power, and some people said we don't need it, some people said we need it. But shortly after that march, something happened in Detroit, and black people started burning down the city, and the cry was Black Power. Mm-hmm. And then shortly after that, Fisk University in Tennessee State, they said we want to talk about Black Power. We had a conference, and when we had the conference, police shot a black man in the back of the head. The students went out with bricks, balls, and gas bombs, started burning down Nashville, and the crowd was Black Power. So Fisk University was the first school to go up and fight for Black Power. Detroit was the first city to go up for Black Power, and then Black Power spread it all over the world. And we joined in with South Africa, Angola, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and other African nations, and Kwame Nkrumah knows. And we all were saying Black Power, but they said it in different ways. Some people said Uhuru, which meant Black Power. Some people say Izaway to Africa, which meant Black Power. But it was made clear that we're going to have power. We need land. We need a country, and that country's Africa. So now Malcolm X become our spokesman. Marcus Garvey began to talk to us from the grave. Patrice Lumumba of the Congo began to talk to us from the grave. Kwame Nkrumah and Sekou Touré began to talk to us and tell us and guide our revolution, and they guided us toward Africa. And Fidel Castro guided us toward socialism, an economic system where all black people in the world have ownership in the diamonds and the gold and the oil and the silver of Africa. So Black Power was an education and a road to Pan-Africanism, a road to Burkina Faso, a road to the Congo, a road to Africa. And today we're on the road to Africa. And when Dr. King say, I've been to the mountaintop and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but we as a people will get to the promised land. Burkina Faso. And we are in Burkina Faso now. We have a strong president there. They got weapons, they got guns, and they got economic system, and they inviting us to come home and take part and saying that all black people in the world is ownership of all that gold that's in those states. You're part ownership of the diamonds and the cobalt and the manganese that's in all those states. And they make it clear that we are fighting for all of Africa. The president said that we are fighting for the Congo. We're fighting for Sudan. And we're fighting for all of Africa. And this is what we're fighting for, and this is what we must do. And he's inviting all of us to come back home, invest in Africa, marry some of them pretty girls, marry them fine young men that they got many to, marry these young men, come home Africa and leave America, leave this land. And you were stolen from here. You were taken from there as slaves, and you still have a slave status in the United States. The Democrat, the Republican, all of them want your diamonds and gold, but this diamonds and gold belong to you. It belongs to all of you Africans, all of you black people that can hear the voice of Africa today, who can hear the voice of the president of the alliance, president of Burkina Faso, president of Niger and Mali, and all the freedom fighters of the world are saying, come home to Africa, and you'll never be free until Africa's free. And the only way we're going to be fair is to have a socialist government, and socialism means that everybody, all of our people have ownership in Africa. Long live us.
We hear from the one and only, the original, never, can't even be imitated, much less duplicated, Baba Mukasaa. I want to bring Mama Maimouna into the conversation. Mama Maimouna, thank you so much for being with us. And I want to bring us up to, again, this so-called 2025. Okay. I remember earlier in the year when you made another trip to Burkina Faso. We played the entire speech before y'all came on that President Traore gave to the delegation of African diasporas, over 700 people that came. But just speak to us about your motivation. You know, as an African woman born here on this side of the water, speak to us about your motivation after going through so many decades of, you know, whatever, you know, you personally went through, but just looking at the trajectory of our people from civil rights to assimilation to this, to that, you know, of your motivation to go to Burkina Faso and some of what you saw there.
So it was an awesome trip. We have gone all over. We've met other leaders, but it was just something very special about this trip. And it was good because to see the president, although we didn't know when we first went, we didn't know we were going to see him. We went in July. We went in July. We didn't see him. We met with a lot of the ministers, about 5 or 6 ministers. We had a great time, but we didn't see the president. And we met with the prime minister who called us, said we are now ambassadors to go spread the good word. And then we went again in October, and we still didn't know we were going to see the president. We were hoping, but nobody, you know, really thought that was really going to come true. And it was like when we went, they told us the night before it was time to go. The night before, we actually saw him on the day we left. So the night before we left, they said, the bus is going to be here at 6 a.m. And that was it. So everybody started saying, well, maybe that's what it is. So we went out that morning, and we got to this big, nice place. They took us out. We had a motorcade everywhere we went. They treated us royally. They treated us very well. And we got there. And the trip before, we couldn't go into any buildings without leaving our phone and our purses and bags. But we took our bags this time. They searched us at the door. So when we took our bags, I said, no, there's no way we're going to get to see the president if they letting us take our bags and those things in. So we went in, and the room was electric. I mean, it was like music playing. It was huge room, well set up, decorated, and it just was a great atmosphere. But I still wasn't certain this is what we were going to do. And they told us at some point, they came in and told everybody to have a seat, to put up all electronics, that you cannot get up out of your seat and you can't pull out any electronics. And then that's when we start feeling this is getting ready to happen. And all of a sudden, this music started playing. The soldiers marched in, and a couple of soldiers marched in front. And then he marched in the middle of those soldiers. At that point, you could not tell anybody to sit down. Everybody, you know, it was like people did respect and not pull out any cameras, but everybody had to stand up. And it was like, it was the crowd, Traore. It was like, it took about 5 minutes to get the crowd to sit back down. They sit him there, and then he made his speech, and his speech was awesome. It was like we were sitting like 5th row from the front. So I didn't have to use the screen. We could look right into his face. I looked right into his dimples, and it was just it was awesome. And when he gave the speech, I think the most memorable thing he said was, he welcomed us, of course, but this whole conference, he kind of put meat to it. It was not just a conference of words. This conference, the first week, we were there 2 weeks. The first week was work. The first week was called the Pan-African Conversation. And there was a lot of conversation around Pan-Africanism. But in the afternoon, it was they had a world market. So they had people they called the people there Burkina Bay. So they had Burkina Bay business folks there who were saying about opportunities to invest, opportunities to set up businesses. Because with this group, a lot of businesses actually came.
Okay.
So they gave the details on the business needs, and people actually got licensed there for businesses. They told about, they took us around showing us the agriculture, because that's the second major thing that they are focusing on, agriculture. The president said one day Africa is going to feed the world. And so we went to farms. We went to these big fish farms, and Burkina Faso is now producing enough food that they can now trade with neighboring African countries. There was plenty of food in Burkina Faso, which is, I've been to a lot of African countries, and there was a scarcity here, a scarcity there, but food was not a scarcity in Burkina Faso. And you could see it through the organization of the country. He puts a lot of focus on making the people love Africa and making the people want to work for their country, And what he
let me just stick a pin right there, Mama. And it's the top of the hour. You're tuned to WRFG Atlanta, 89.3 on the FM dial. Hang on to that dial. And if you're close to somebody, emotionally, spiritually, or if you're right next to them, they hear what you hear. Let them know we're on the radio. We're having a special conversation, a report back, if you will, from Mama Maimouna and Baba Mukasaa Dada on a recent trip to Burkina Faso, the land of the upright men.
Yes.
From the time of Thomas Sankara, who renamed the so-called Upper Volta, shook off the colonial cloak in terms of that name. And now his son, in many ways, is continuing that work and has declared that they come to finish the work that Sankara started. Mama Maimouna, you were saying?
So they had a lot of business opportunities there, and they were sharing them. It was like very specific. They had banks there for those who wanted, because a lot of people came in wanting to set up businesses, wanting to invest, and that kind of thing. They had the folks there to do it right there. And every afternoon there was a session on. They even had businesses. They were allowing them 2 or 3 minutes to present their business to see if that's something Burkina Faso needs. And construction is everywhere. You can see the work. He has a project called Faso Mabo, which is like the control center of where they fixing roads, where they're buildings. Construction, like I say, is everywhere. New housing is coming up. We went to a displaced village where the French had pushed all these people out into this awful area. And so we went out there and we saw where they were beginning to bring those folks and build houses and bringing those folks out of those places and putting them in decent housing. So you see the progress. You see it everywhere. It's not just talk. We went to the farms. We went to, everywhere to see the housing was beautiful. In Africa, they have this way of building houses where you build and when you finish, you don't owe any money. You build a little at a time.
Right.
Stepped up the process, and they're building all these houses so that people can move into their houses immediately. And they're encouraging Africans to come over and be a part of that. There are some Africans that were in the group who actually put down a down payment on their house while they were there. So it was a productive trip.
Beautiful. 404-523-8989. We speak with Mama Maimouna and Baba Mukasaa. We're going to take a short break. And when we come back, I want to go back a few years, and get y'all's perspective, get your reflections on the formation and the nurturing of groups like the AAPRP, for instance, All African People's Revolutionary Party. And the reason I want to go there is for the sake of those who are listening, who may be excited, may be intrigued, but do not understand that it's been a steady trajectory building upon one step after the other. We played Marcus Garvey before y'all came in, talking about Africa for the Africans, and Baba Mukasaa, of course, mentioned that in his narrative in terms of coming out of Lowndes County and all of that, and looking even beyond when after the word Black Power was set in motion and that utterance, and then it spread like fire, and then the look towards Africa. We want to be able to really get a clear understanding and appreciation, really, more than anything else, of the unbroken link. Because, to be transparent, one of the reasons I want to ask that question is we live in a microwave culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where people just feel everything just pop up overnight. We in the Instagram and Twitter, 120 characters to tell a story and all that kind of stuff. So it's very important. I keep quoting attorney Awara Automatics, who said one time, one of the reasons that we might find ourselves less successful than we can be at achieving some of the victories that our predecessors achieved is because we haven't studied the architects. So I know that, speaking of Baba Kwame Ture and a lot of his work, the All African People Revolutionary Party, as one example, is a formation that built upon the past and with vision towards the future. So I can imagine how y'all feel, even being able to go to a place like Burkina Faso and seeing those visions come to reality. We're going to take a very short break. 404-523-8989 is the number. 404-523-8989. We're live with Baba Mukasaa, Mama Maimouna Ricks, and we're talking about ourselves, of course. Check it out, y'all.
Oh yeah, oh Lord, nah. Oh nah, oh nah. A revolutionary dream, people listen keen. Freedom fight, I was in my dream. I was on this mountain with other soldiers awaiting orders for attack the oppressors, boy. Whoa, 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 boy. In this particular dream, the time was night. At time we knew we had to fight. A revolutionary dream, people listen keen. Freedom fight, I was in my dream. Did not want to fight our brothers, but we had to because they were traitors. Why? 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 We knew not when this war would end, but
Well,
We're still in here. We're still in here.
oh,
Did something happen?
thank you.
a revolutionary dream, people listen keen. Freedom fight, I was in my dream. Just when we were about to kill the headman, I awoke out of my wonderful vision. Boy, whoa, 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 whoa.
Moses saying about his revolutionary dream. Bringing up one aspect that often gets overlooked, and it's something that had to be dealt with.
Let me say.
Which is, there are often people who attempt to sabotage the progress of our people.
With him.
And that's just what it is, So, I heard in the message that President Traore shared that, he acknowledged that himself. There have been so many, it put me in the mindset of Fidel Castro. Before he transitioned, if I'm not mistaken, it was like over 600 attempts. It's like 600. Now, Traore, and I hear it every day about somebody who turned down a $5 million offer to betray him, Revolutionary dream coming from Pablo Moses. So as I was asking before the break, we want to get back to Burkina Faso and hear some more about, what you saw, Maimouna and Baba Mukasaa. Of course, I'm particularly intrigued about the food production, the farms, and all of that. But I'm just really moved to ask y'all about, to help to explain to the audience that time period when organizations like the All African People Revolutionary Party developed. What was the purpose of those organizations, and what are you seeing the fruit now as we're looking at the developing African world?
Well, Kwame Nkrumah called for the building of All African People Revolutionary Party, and when Africa started getting independence and telling the white man to get out of their land, they recognized that they needed a party and they needed to work together. And in order to make a revolution, we had to join in with all the African countries, and all these countries had to come together, put their armies together, put their organization together, put their movements together, and fight to get imperialism out of their land, to get the white-dominated system of imperialism out of their land. And when they began to call for the unity of Africa, they recognized that they needed a party, and the All African People's Revolutionary Party. And now this party had to come to educate all the Africans, Black folks throughout the world. We needed to know our history. And that was the number one weapon, learning your history, learning who you are, learning that you're African, Africa is your land, and learning that Africa is a great civilization, Ghana, Mali, Songhai, and thousands of other great empires, learning that Africa is the richest land in the world, full of diamonds, gold, oil, rubber, zinc, tea, copper, pearl, cobalt, manganese, that can solve the economic problems of all of our people and solve the economic problems of the world. Like Toure said, it can feed the whole world. Just that Congo alone could feed the whole world. So now we come to build a party. And how when we come to build a party, Fidel Castro, as you just mentioned, said, look, we need socialism, an economic system that now can solve the problem. An economic system that shares everything. Take everything that the rich people got, everything they done stole, and give it to the people back in terms of free medical care, free education, free medicine, making sure people never go hungry again, and all those kind of things. This is socialism. And now governments and countries began to imitate Fidel Castro. He's the hero of the world. And now countries all over the world began to imitate him, and what they're doing now is running these folks off the land. And now Toure is and Thomas Sankara was friend and comrades to Fidel Castro. And one of the things that they do is all the people that want revolution, they assassinate, like Thomas Sankara was a great leader before Toure, and they went there and they paid his best friend to kill him. And now we have revolutionary governments around the world that's rising up, like Venezuela. United States is dropping bombs on Venezuela right now, and they're using neo-colonialists and what we call Uncle Toms to give them guns and bombs, to have them killing each other like they're doing in the Sudan, have them fighting against each other, and to let the United States use their armies and weapons and land to drop bombs on other countries. This is what they're doing down in South America.
Right now, as we speak, and we just had one of the former presidents of Guyana on the show recently, who signed, he was one of the people who signed the declaration and signed an appeal to keep Caribbean as a zone of peace. But as I was talking to him and asking him, like, first of all, are these young leaders taking counsel with the elder CARICOM statesman? He's like, Nobody asked me for no advice. But also, it come down to, like, why are these people finding themselves so easily complicit with these imperialists when they know that ain't good for anybody? It's not, they might have, you find a lot of people that have what we call domestic beefs, and some of them are legitimate beefs. Like the one with Venezuela and Guyana is a very specific one that goes back to colonial times. And it was not until the CIA intervened in the government of Guyana in the 1960s that whole kind of rhetoric about Guyana being, half of Guyana being owned into Venezuela rose up again. But that's just one. Trinidad, Barbados, whatever. But we still have not found ourselves to be producing a group of leaders, especially in the Caribbean, who have the guts to just stand up. So what he was saying is ultimately just fear of being isolated. So now you, the president of Trinidad, and you're allowing warships to come into your zone to fight against your neighbor with U.S. warships? Or you, the president of Guyana, and you're allowing a military flyover at your inauguration?
Yeah.
It's madness.
And that the fact of the matter is, Guyana and Trinidad are puppet governments for the United States. They're neo-colonial governments, and the United States still got the power over these guys, and they're just president and figurehead, but the United States can bully them, bring in armies, and attack Venezuela. Venezuela is the revolutionary country, and that we must support Venezuela at all costs, and that these neo-colonials will be defeated. And the land of the people in those countries, the land belonged to the Venezuelans, the land belonged to the Indians, the native people, and we cannot respect the zones that colonialism had thrown up and brought our Africans there. The people in them countries belong to Africa. They're part of the African Revolution, and Venezuela is part of the native people that of the Americas, who the original people of this land, and they want their land. And we cannot let the white man, let America, let Europe come and draw territories, bring misplaced Africans from Africa, put them on land and use them to fight against the traditional people of the land. The land belonged to Venezuela. We will fight with Venezuela. We will fight with Nicaragua. We will fight with all the soldiers in North and Central and South America. The land belongs to them, and we must defeat America, and we must defeat imperialism on the land. But our fight is for Pan-Africanism, and the Africans in those territories must join the fight for Africa. And we must all join for socialism. Go ahead.
One of the things that I was impressed with in Burkina Faso was young people. That's all I saw. One time I had a joke and I asked our driver, I said, what do y'all do with the elders? Because I didn't see it,
Yeah, I heard a statistic, not to cut you, Mama, but that over
75?
Yeah, percent of the are under 17.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I don't know if that's the exact for the number, but all we saw was young people, young, healthy folks, and that was like impressive. And one of the themes in the conversation that we had is the youth must lead, and they had youth from all over Africa that was talking in Burkina Faso, telling these are our skills and this is how we need to unite, because they say that the future is going to be young folks.
Absolutely. I want to ask both of y'all, just in terms of we living vicariously through you right now. You've laid a clear foundation in terms of, and the world can see what the politics of the leadership is, what the trajectory is towards Pan-Africanism clearly and building up the country. Just as visitors returning home, take us to some of the sites that you saw that really touched you. I mean, you mentioned, for instance, the villages where displaced people and their homes were being remade. You mentioned fish farms. What are some of the sites that really got your attention? Just on the land.
The one we had, my daughter and my granddaughters, and the one that impressed them was Thomas Sankara Memorial.
It's Memorial.
The memorial, because it had a story, and my daughter was telling me how important it was for people to travel, young folks to travel, because she said, although you read these stories, it's when you see them that they really stick with you. She knows now everything about Thomas Sakari, but that was like the most memorable, hearing that story, walking on the grounds where he was shot, walking into the mausoleum where he was buried. I mean, they were so vicious that they wouldn't even let them bury him there. That was one of the first things that the president, Captain Traore, had to do, was move his body back to his home. Because they wouldn't even let him be buried there. So that was one of the most memorable.
They have a statue that's 20, 30 feet tall, and just to stand next to him, and he got his fist up in the air. It's like Thomas Sakari is speaking and guiding the revolution from the grave. And it is so beautiful and strong. And the 12 people, young people that they murdered in order to take the government from him. It's just so wonderful to be there, to be in the little room where he was meeting when they came and started shooting and killed him, and to go to the grave where the bodies are buried and whatever. And that's just all wonderful, and they touch you. And to see my wife standing there next to him with her hand up, she's a militant too, and with her hand up and talking about revolution in Burkina Faso, and then to see my grandchildren standing there with their hands up next to Thomas Sakari talking about revolution. And that was just a wonderful sight. And they felt the blood and felt the love of Africa and felt a commitment to revolution.
And Mama Maimouna, as you were saying, as a mother, as the first teacher, naturally, I think a lot of times we overlook the power of symbolism, even though we share it with our children with stories and all the fables and the this and the that. So something that might just feel like, oh, there go another statue, but like you said, they had a story to it.
Yes, yeah, and that's what they will remember. Even my little 6-year-old grandbaby, she remembered that spot. She said, "Oh, his friend killed him." She will remember that was his friend that betrayed him.
And he did it for the French, and also it was the French and America and the CIA that murdered Lumumba in the Congo, and he was a great leader like Thomas Sakari, like Traore, and he's a great leader leading the people in the Congo. And the CIA in the United States, they got together and they killed him. And when they killed him, they cut his body up in little pieces and then put his body in acid. And then they went in the Congo and killed hundreds of thousands of people for the last 75 years. They've been killing people in the Congo even before then, but they had killed all these people in the Congo. There was a leader named King Leopold who was in the Congo, and Leopold went in the Congo. He killed people. He killed more black folks than anybody else in the world. And they got a statue of him right in South Africa right now. And when he killed all those people and make them work, if you didn't work hard enough, they cut your ears off. Then they started cutting your hands and your feet off. And they cut off millions of people's hands and feet. They cut your whole family's hands and feet off, little babies' hands and feet off. And this is what the United States and all these imperialist countries been doing to our people. They're using pure terrorism on our people, just like the jails and prisons right here in the United States, right here in Atlanta, where people are starving and rotting to death in the jails right here. So these people are doing the same thing they did 200, 300, 400 years ago. And that's why they're taking bombs and guns and building more bombs and more armies, dropping bombs all over everywhere, because they want to continue to kill, rob, murder, steal your diamonds, your gold, your oil, your silver, your copper, your pearl, cobalt, and keep you on the very bottom, and to take your natural resources and make you rich and make you poor. The rich get richer, poor get poor.
And they cut their teeth right here in those same battlefields where you was cutting your teeth, Baba Mukasaa, in terms of the apartheid South. That's where a lot of them learn how to do their thing. Mama Maimouna, you were saying?
Yeah, we also met with the dynamic speaker, the president of the Sahara Alliance.
Okay.
And one of the things he brought up was weapons. He said that they've got to get their own money, develop their own money, because he said something I didn't realize. He said using French money means that France determine the weapons they get. France determined who they partner with to buy weapons. So what France was doing was sending them old weapons that they can just kill each other with, but they can't kill the Frenchmen with.
Right.
So he said he was showing that connection, how the currency is related to the weapons you can buy and the partnerships you can have. And so that was one of the objectives of the Sahara Alliance, is to get their own currency.
Beautiful. What kind of topography did you experience? When I see images, I see like it seemed like desert. I see red clay. I see a lot of what seemed like desert or arid area. What was the land like? Did y'all go outside the city?
Yeah, we went outside, and most of it's a desert area.
Yeah,
not a lot of trees and whatever. And that they're doing like Gaddafi did, is make green land out the desert.
Yeah.
Convert the desert.
Reforestation.
Yeah. And so they're doing that.
Beautiful.
They had a start, but these France was there dominating them and just left them living in mud, living under the sun, and living base without clean water. So now they developing and trying to come up.
Good thing.
And I would like to say that the foreign minister and the vice president, what was it? Foreign minister and the president of the alliance gave Maimouna the Malcolm X Award and honored me with the Patrice Lumumba Award.
I say, well deserved on both of y'all. You know, we got about 5 minutes left, and I'm just, I'm at the edge of my seat until I get there myself. I love to travel. And we were actually in Ghana, or just left Ghana, when the y'all delegation went over to Burkina Faso. Even some people that we were with were poised to join your delegation. I'm just wondering, in terms of what you felt just around the everyday people. We know, and you all know, we started off talking about the long journey it took to start to re-educate our family in the Delta, Baba Mukasaa, about who we truly are after we was taught to be ashamed of ourselves. I'm interested, did y'all see anything that really stood out just amongst the everyday people that would really point to the fact that the colonial cloak is being moved? The colonial cloak is being removed, and now here we are again as free Africans, really poised to be ourselves first and foremost, much less to rule our own destiny. Any kind of examples you remember?
Yeah, young folks.
Mm.
Everybody loves him. Anybody you talk to love him, and the young folks love him to the point where there's an area where he lives.
Mm-hmm.
Young people go out at night and patrol that area so nobody can harm him.
Mm.
That's how dedicated they are to him. They have their utmost trust in him, to the point where kids on their school breaks, they don't want to go and play. They want to work on some project to help build the country.
Mm.
Because he has instilled in them that if Africa is going to be built, we have to build it.
Mm.
If Africa is going to be strong, it is our responsibility to do it. So that impressed me. The people were warm, were gracious, were humble. It was like, sisters, if you want a strong warrior looking type man, go to
Africa.
But because that's what you saw. You saw that warrior humbleness in them.
Mm.
And the women were just beautiful, natural queen. My daughter she said they all look like queens. They produce their own cloth. And so everybody is dressed in their cloth. you know, and it was just an awesome, awesome atmosphere.
And they don't have to show their booty or their titties or their legs to be beautiful.
Right.
They're just as fine as they can be. Now, the other part of your question is that we've been to Haiti, we've been to the Congo, we've been to different parts of Africa, we've been to Mississippi, Alabama, Venezuela, and whatever. And wherever you find African people, you can't even tell the difference in them. They come with love, sisterhood, brotherhood, and they just loving people. And that the enemies have taken advantage of our love and our humbleness, and now we must be aggressive and warriors. And in Africa, everybody you see look like they're working and building Africa. And this is what we have to do. Build Africa.
I had been there 14 days before I saw a white person. So it was great to see all these Africans.
I say 14 days before you saw a white person.
And I saw one white person the whole time I was there.
So you didn't see a plane full, you know, a lot of times when you're going down to the Caribbean or even other African countries, you see a plane. You might be 75% Europeans who are some investors or some kind of way going to extract from the country.
Well, they do world business all over the world, so different people come, but they're not boss. They're not boss.
We didn't see them. There were people on the plane, but when we got into the country, we didn't see them.
We saw Africans, and we saw Africans building, Africans in charge, Africans just building everything in factories and industries and everything. We're in charge. We saw soldiers with guns, AK-47s. We saw tanks and armies and young people with armies and whatever. They taking the schools and putting all the children in school, paying them to go to school, putting them in army uniforms and preparing them to fight the battle. Remember, our fight is for Africa. Africa's at war and we're not free. And Africa is fighting for freedom, but the enemy is on our territory, and some of them look just like us. They got armies all over Africa. Bush them got an operation going on in the Congo, Brazzaville. They got operation going on in Sudan and whatever, and they coming to fight us. They coming to kill us. That's why all the organizations, all the groups of our people, these military groups we got, you should join in with Burkina Faso. We must prepare to fight, because if you put your hands on Africa, put your hands on Burkina Faso, we must burn down all of Europe, all America, everywhere in the world. Whenever you touch Africa, we must raise hell all over the world. This fight is for African people. We're in a worldwide battle. We are not free. The enemy is operating, and some of the enemies look just like us. They are operating. They are there, and they want your diamonds, your gold, your oil, your silver. And in order to keep it, you got to fight. And this is why we call for a building of all African People's Revolutionary Party. Everybody should Google AAPRP, because their education information on that website, and you can learn the history. You can learn about revolutionaries all over the world. You can learn about speeches and talks from people like Marcus Garvey, Du Bois, and many, many others around the world. And current events. And your daddy made a major contribution. Ashkill, his organization in the Caribbean, and he's a warrior. And that there are many warriors around the world, and all of you need to know about them. So you need to open up your eyes and see and listen to all the revolutionaries in the world. We are not free. We are fighting for freedom. We are fighting for socialism. We are fighting for liberation. Africa must unite. Are you there, my brother?
Yeah.
Is it?
He's still there.
He go.
He might be on a commercial. Hold on. I gotta get out of here. I gotta get my hair done.
Is it 5:30?
I did.
Yeah, what time you talking about?
I thought I said 5.
5 or 5:30? Is it that time yet? No, just 3 o'clock. What?
It's 3:40.
Where you got to go? Cross down. Africa must unite. Africa must be free. Listen to WRFG. WRFG worldwide. Pan-Africanism, socialism, liberation. WRFG. That's okay? It's time, my bad. What time is it? Is that us or him doing that right there?
That's us. It's still saying live. It's still saying live right here.
Africa unite. Revolution.
See, it's still live.
Who's on that long right there? Out there.
About an hour and 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Let me see.
Hey, Mama, I was trying to get it back on. They cut off the thing, right? Disrupted the signal.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get y'all back on and see just its closing words.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, you were still alive. We're still alive.
Africa unite. WRFG Worldwide Revolutionary Information. One of the only places you can hear this information is on WRFG. And we need all our freedom fighters, all our Africans worldwide. It don't make no difference whether you're Venezuela, Nicaraguan, whatever land you live on, good, as long as you're fighting for socialism. We're more concerned about your attitude and your history and your ideals than you are about your color. Your color is a small part of the revolution, but your action is the number one part. So we can fight together. And Venezuela and Trinidad and what do you call it?
Burkina Faso?
No, where he live?
Guyana,
all of us must fight together. Our fight is against imperialism. And if you're fighting for against imperialism, we are brothers and sisters. If you're fighting for imperialism, you're an enemy. If you're used by America, by France, by Britain, you are an enemy. If you want to give our natural resources, diamonds, gold, oil, to these people, you're an enemy. If you use your territory for America, for their ships and for their warplanes to drop on the people of your neighbors and your friends anywhere, you're an enemy. Our fight is for Africa, united Africa.
surprised by that. However, the reality is people not stone mango tree if it not bear. So celebrate life, celebrate who we are, and let's continue to be who we are in this life. You're here? Listen to music again.
When you're in love, it's a lovely life. When someone asks you to be his wife, it is so good for you to settle down. It doesn't pay for you to roam the town. You find someone who is true to you, someone who do what you want to do. I said it's good for you to settle down. It doesn't pay for you to roam the town.
Welcome back to those joining us on YouTube and Facebook. We lost a signal for a minute. You know it, bro. That's why WRFG.org is your one-stop shop all the while. WRFG.org. If you're not in Atlanta, you need to stay tuned to us all the time. That's the way to do it.
It is so good for you to settle down. It doesn't pay for you to roam the town. I said it's good for you to settle down. It doesn't pay for you to roam the town. When you're in love, it's a lovely life. When you're in love, it's a lovely, lovely life. I said it's good for you to settle down. It doesn't pay for you to roam the town.
Lot of mercy is a message in the music, but I never refuse it, y'all. WRFG Atlanta 89.3 on the FM.
Oh God,
From show today.
Adam Barra, Mama Africa so sweet, cause it all today. Me just a come from sweet Mama Africa. When me go sail up the sweet river Gambia, me come forth with God in me heart to break Babylon apart. Me just a come from Adam Barra, Mama Africa so sweet, cause it all today. Me just a come from sweet Mama Africa. When me go sail up the sweet river Gambia, me come forth with God in me heart to break Babylon apart. Me just a come from sweet Mama Africa. When me go sail up the sweet river Gambia, me come forth with God in me heart to break Babylon apart. This I guess you know the story well. Oh, Africans have been through hell. They were taken away into captivity. They suffered the pangs of slavery. I stopped at the Gory Island, and what I got to overstand. 100 million or more, pack like fish in a can, and ship it to the Caribbean. Me I come from sweet mama Africa, where we go see a love the sweet river Gambia. Me come forth with God in a me heart, to break Babylon apart. Me just a come from sweet mama Africa, where we go see a love the sweet river Gambia. Me come forth with God in a me heart, to tear Satan apart. When I long time them a tell me feel like, and I go like African drop from sky. But enough things I man go there, go there. We original and that we confirm. When people there's a conspiracy to distort black man's history.
And we give thanks, you know, music, as they say, calms the savage beast.
Mama Africa so sweet, cause it all today. Me just a come from sweet Mama Africa, when me go sail up the sweet river Gambia. Me come forth with God in a me heart, to break Babylon apart. Me just a come from sweet Mama Africa, when me go sail up the sweet river Gambia. Me come forth with God in a me heart, to break Babylon apart. This I guess you know the story well. Oh, Africans have been through hell. They were taken away into captivity. They suffered the pangs of slavery. I stopped at the Gory Island, and what I got to overstand. 100 million or more, pack like fish in a can, and ship it to the Caribbean. Me I come from sweet Mama Africa, where we go see a love the sweet river Gambia. Me come forth with God in a me heart, to break Babylon apart. Me just a come from sweet Mama Africa, where we go see a love the sweet river Gambia. Me come forth with God in a me heart, to tear Satan apart. When I long time them a tell me feel like, and I go like African drop from sky. But enough things I man go there, go there. We original and that we confirm. When people there's a conspiracy to distort black man's history and take away the anciency. Black people, you are royalty. Me I come from sweet Mama Africa, when me go sail up the sweet river Gambia. Me come forth with God in a me heart, to tear Babylon apart. Yes, me I come from sweet Mama Africa, when me go sail up the sweet river Gambia. Me come forth with God in a me heart, to break Babylon apart. My rock, Lord, Lord, Mama Africa. Each time you know the story good, cause some things we have misunderstood. Africans were the first to inhabit the earth. Jah blessed could never get cursed. Now based on what I've seen, all Africans are kings and queens. From the east to the west, from the north to the south, it's Africans we're talking about. We just have come from sweet Mama Africa, when we go see a love the sweet river Gambia. We come forth with God in a me heart, to tear Babylon apart. We just have come from sweet Mama Africa, when we go see a love the sweet river Gambia. We come forth with God in a me heart, to tear Satan apart. Lord God, oh, Mama Africa, for me, oh, the land of the ancient sea. Yeah. We just a come from sweet Mama Africa, when we go sail up the sweet river Gambia. We come forth with God in a me heart, to break Babylon apart. We just a come from sweet.
Denied free and open access to the broadcast media, and those who suffer oppression or exploitation based upon class, race, sex, age, creed, sexual orientation, disability, or immigrant status. The views and opinions expressed.
Thank y'all for joining us. Much love to Baba Mukasaa and Mama Maimouna for their special parents, you know what it is. Y'all like and share the video as well as subscribe to our channel. Let people know this programming is here for you every Thursday from 2 to 4 p.m. live EST, Eastern Standard Time, as well as other times around the clock where we come on and bring special programming and features. All right. Thank you very much for joining us. Much love.